Yo, we got the Grammy Award winning, right? Singer, songwriter, producer, engineer, rapper, you name it. Cocoa Sarai's in the building. What's up, Coco?
I'm happy. I'm excited.
And welcome home. We got you in Brooklyn.
What? Yes. I'm in New York. It's over. It's over. I'm grateful. This is amazing. It's been an amazing experience.
Let's talk about you being home right now. Like, you were raised in Brooklyn? Like
born and raised in Brooklyn.
Born and raised in Brooklyn.
BK, born and raised. Bed-Stuy, Bushwick, Brownsville. Like an equal amount of time in all three, for sure. You know, it's been an amazing journey. You know, I think like yesterday or day before yesterday, I went to like some old shops that I went to get my little fits. Because, you know, you got NoHo and then you got this Soho. I'm sorry. NoHo is in Cali. Okay. Soho is out here, right? You got these couple of 2 little 3 little stores in Soho. And you're like, all right, I'm going to go get them my little, man. And then out on Pickens Avenue, there's one store where you can get like the same stuff that be over there, right? So I'm like, I'm in Crown Heights right now. I'm going over to Pickens Avenue. I'm not doing this. And I went there and, you know, just seeing the environment and the activity of the people there. And I was just like, man, it made me sad, you know. I'm having a conversation with some people at a label right now. And after my, you know, going over there and grabbing some stuff, they're like, how you feeling? I was like, I'm sad. And they were like, sad? Coco, sad? I'm like, yeah. I was like, you know, some things haven't changed.
True.
But what it really did was make me feel the weight of where I come from, the weight of it. Like you go away and it's 3.5 years now I've been in LA, and it's like, for most people, this is just a story when I talk about how I grew up and my upbringing, you know, but in real life, this is my life. My family, my friends, you know, people that I grew up with are still in these spaces. I'm about to go on the block next week and I'm going to see niggas that's still on the block.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Facts.
Pandemic, all of the woken rhetoric that we feel, all of the like, oh, you've done this, you've traveled, you this. Some people have not traveled. Some people are still saying congratulations when they see me get on a plane.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and it hurts. It doesn't feel good, you know? So I'm talking to these, you know, what do I call it? Nigga and nigga adjacent. They not none of those. They not nigga or nigga adjacent people. and that's okay. You know what I mean? Because the Spanish people is nigga adjacent. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how they feel like that.
Right.
And, you know, and I'm just like, they're like, how do you feel? And I'm like, I feel a little sad.
Yeah.
You know, because... Still niggas on the corner, like really, really, like still crackheads. Still, it was a weird energy, you know. But I remembered quickly, like this is what I come from. This is what I saw, and I still saw a better life for myself when I was in these circumstances. And I'm grateful because I actually don't know how I thought this way. This is a thought process.
Right.
This wasn't. It's action, absolutely, but it was a thought process. Like, even when I was young, to be like, I want that. So it's not that I ignored what was happening. It was so normal that it was just like, So when you get out of it and you come back, you're like, yo, this is happening.
Yeah, it's still real. And this is what you came out of.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It makes glory to God for the work that I did with Dr. Dre on this TNT project for Kobe, a Kobe tribute. God bless Dre for asking me to come in and do it on a random night in LA. And I came through and added some stuff. We won an Emmy maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So now,
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Grammy/Emmy-winning.
Thank you. I'm like I like to say, but like it was different when I say like I'm a little black girl from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like I'm from here, my nigga. This ain't no like I'm not in these spaces and forget where I come from, you know, like I'm aware. I know people that were right next to me. I'm sorry, I could cry, that did not do what they could have done with the opportunities and the talent they had.
Right.
You know,
because they weren't able to see.
I just wanted more, yo.
Yeah.
I just wanted more, and so when I see it, you know, coming back just to go shopping, I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful and an ugly thing because I want so much more for us.
There's beauty in the struggle.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm reminding that this Grammy and this Emmy has a different weight. It has a different weight. It just happened to fall on me in a beautiful way, but it has a different weight.
Yeah.
Because somebody that knows me, that grew up next to me, is like, yeah, our girl did it. And I'm like, no, my nigga. Words of Pharrell, nigga, you could do it too.
Right. We did
because
it.
we come from the
same.
We was going to the same corner store, eating the same bullshit, dealing with the same, going to the same schools, having the same scuffles, fucking fighting on the train and all. Like we were going through it. Even if you was a good kid, I got straight A's. You went through it.
You still had to because it was around you.
We grew up
day.
and we grew up. I tell people in LA that'll be like, you know, Coco, you intense. I'm like, no. In elementary school, we had to figure it out.
Facts.
We had to figure it out for recess, where it's like, listen, I ain't pussy, but I'm also not about to deal with none of the BS. So like, either we with it or we not. And seeing myself from another lens coming back this time has been different, and important. And I'm excited to see what it does for my art. And it's painful and it's beautiful, all at the same time.
But to be that self-aware is a really, really beautiful thing. And to see how everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
You mentioned winning this Emmy for the Kobe tribute.
Yeah.
And you won the Grammy. And when was that?
That was the year before. So in 2020, we
on
won
what
a
day?
Grammy. On the day that Kobe died.
Yeah.
Crazy. Crazy.
And not too far after that, we went in and did the tribute.
Wow.
Straight asked me to be there. It was painful. I didn't even put it in my bio or talk about it until enough people had to be like, this comes before your name whenever you speak now.
Right.
Everywhere you go
like
for the rest of your life.
You get to say Grammy-winning artist. And I'm like, in all honesty, I felt like, well, this isn't for my music. This is for music that I hope to contribute to, God bless Anderson. That's my brother, man. I'm honored. I'm grateful. It's amazing to watch him work. He's a baby Dre. It's insane to watch the two of them. It's like, like you're him in 20 years and you're him 20 years ago. And, but in this time, and for me, I'm a little sis, but I'm also like, all right, Coco, come and do, what do you think? And I think that, when I look at it, I have a different gratitude for it, not because of me, but because of what it means to people that were right next to me,
right, that
are not anymore.
Yeah.
And it still hurts. I'm not even gonna lie, that shit hurts. It hurts when I see people not like, elevating or not doing what they can or not following their dream. That shit don't make me feel like, oh, it's me, I'm the shit. It makes me feel like, damn, yo.
So, I mean, a lot of people on their journey, I feel like, growing up in certain neighborhoods, et cetera, they escape with music, right?
Yeah.
So let's go into that. So how did you really start with music? Was it an escape for you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I grew up in church, I started singing at 2 years old. My mom
was in the choir.
Yeah, beyond that, like my family were the preachers, the drummers, the bassists, the organ players. Auntie Lucy played the bass. Uncle Butch plays the Uncle Butch plays the bass. Auntie Lucy played the organ. My cousin played the drums. My other cousin played the piano. Uncle Jay, Aunt Gladys, Grandma, all my family could sing. It wasn't. I grew up in a musical family, so it wasn't like when you think of the Winans, that was my family. Yeah. No, for real, no dead ass.
Everybody,
I thought everybody's family was like that. So when I meet other people and they singing, it's like nobody in my family sings. I'm like, how'd you do that? What is that?
What were y'all doing?
What y'all was doing?
Where did you pull inspiration from?
How you do this? I don't even, I might be peeking. Let me back up. I'm loud. And I've been drinking. Don't judge me.
No judgment zone.
Right. It's all good. I don't even care, man. Life is so good. I'm so grateful.
That's it.
And so for me, starting at 2, my mom said it started at 2. That was actually normal in my family. It's not normal in most families, but it was normal in my family. And singing gospel meant that my grandmother would be like, yo, if God ain't in it, I'm gonna sit you down. So if you're singing a song about God and she feels like you're just trying to make it about you, grandma would sit you down.
But she wasn't with the secular music.
Nah. And even in singing gospel, she would be like, this is all ego. And she wouldn't let it happen. So I was taught to connect to what I was singing. And I was going through a lot as a kid. I lived with my grandma, which means my mom was in and out of jail. And so I couldn't talk about it. My grandmother wasn't the type where you could talk to her about how her daughter is making you feel. That made her feel attacked. Yeah. So I couldn't talk about it. So that meant like the only place I got to get this out was in church when I was singing shit like, yo, what God has for me is for me, you know, because I was a depressed child. Now that I'm older and I understand what this is, we understand mental health because it's
it's a thing now.
It's a thing now.
Very important.
I understand that like for me to be where I'm at right now is not supposed to happen. I'm going to be honest, like I don't know how it happened. It's a mixture of God and some willpower and some people that God decided to use to be like, I don't know what it is about this little feisty ass little girl, teenager, grown woman, whatever. And people that were like, I champion her, I believe in her. She said she gonna walk on water. And I'm like, all right, well, let me give you some water, seriously, and I'm grateful for that.
At what point did you realize you can make your own music and that you didn't just have to sing gospel music?
Oh, man. I mean, well, Grandma had me singing straight gospel, but when I went to Mommy on the weekend, we was listening to Mary J. Blige and we was listening to the Bee Gees and we was listening to, I'm Jamaican, so we listening to Bob Marley and Beres Hammond and Peter Tosh and, and she was, and Tina Turner, who was still one of my favorites, and Billie Holiday. And like my mom could sing as well. So she was very broad in her range of how she listened to music. And I was exposed to all of that, and we would sing together. And gospel was with Grandma. And she was in gospel too, but gospel was with Grandma, and I had to sing it in church. So I think that my mom was she was so instrumental in me being able to see music the way I do. And my uncle was all about hip hop, EPMD, and he was all about neo soul. My first concert was Erykah Badu. He took me to the Afram, and I got lost and ended up at the front of the at the front of the stage. And Erykah Badu puts the mic out to who is singing the loudest and puts the mic out to me, and I'm 13 in Maryland. And boy, you rock my world. And she's making everybody sing it. And I grab the mic and I'm singing it out my lungs. And when I think about...
Is there footage of that somewhere?
I don't know.
That might be out there.
It might be.
Somewhere out there.
What are the odds that you're a 13-year-old in a crowd that never heard the Mama's Gun album at the time, come to the front and I know that song and I fall in love with the whole Mama's Gun album because I see her perform it live at 13 and I was like...
And she gave the mic to
and on top of that, she kept taking off outfits. She had like 4 or 5 outfits, and she would take one off and have another one on and take another one off.
And then the crowd goes crazy.
And I lost my mind.
Yeah,
Are you crazy?
I witnessed it.
I'd never seen that in my life. It was my first concert outside of church. And I was just like...
It was over. It was over.
My second concert, I moved back to New York. I'm like 16 or 17. Uncle Bam gets me one ticket to see Jill Scott live because he knew I loved her. He introduced me to neo soul and flowetry, which is amazing because now I know Marsha Ambrosius, which is honorable. Like she doesn't.
Phenomenal song.
I'm looking at her. I'm like, do you understand like what you are to my child? Like you can literally do no wrong, fam. Like this is crazy. Like you're the shit and the urine and everything else that's good because shit and urine is terrible and you shouldn't be that. And I think Lil Wayne made us say it, but we shouldn't because that's like... Anyway, back to what I'm saying.
All
like,
the excrements.
Shout out to Lil Wayne though, but I don't want to compare people. I love the excrements, even though that was really genius. You know what I mean? There's so many things. All right, back. So that was one of my things. I always knew I wanted to do music. Whitney Houston was my first. Mary J. Blige, Lauryn Hill, Tina Turner. Those were them.
Soul music.
Yeah, but also like their voices. Their voices were close to mine. I always had a raspy voice from a child, so they all had raspy voices. Whitney Houston not so much. I just wanted that.
Who doesn't? The range.
Yeah.
The range.
And most singers learn how to sing from mimicking. I was never good at mimicking. So being in church, you have to make the song yourself. If Sister Teresa sings What God Has for Me, you can't sing it just like her. So you learn to make it your own and make it for the glory of God from young, and which meant that I needed to connect to it, you know. And at a time when I'm like worried and scared because my mom is not coming to my track meets, and you know, it's like, all right, God, whoever you bring, First Lady's pulling up to my track meets, and I'm grateful that she's there, even though mommy's not at like 8.
Yeah.
Because I have to just be happy somebody's here. It wasn't easy. When I look back on it, I was a depressed child, you know, and I know that. And I realize how much of an impact it made on the way that I write, because I'm not afraid to be honest.
I mean, be vulnerable.
Yeah,
because I'm not afraid
of inspired by those moments of anguish.
Because I know I'm not alone.
Right.
People like to pretend that like everything's all good and everyone's vibrating high all the time and everything's, but that's not true. Balance, ma'at. We have balance.
Yes.
And I think people are so afraid of their shadow that they are afraid to dance with it, but not understanding that you need both. If you lean too far into the light, then when some shit bad comes up, you don't know how to defend yourself. And if you lean too far into the dark, you know, when something great happens, you don't know how to like accept it and be grateful for it. So you have to have balance. You know, and I think so many new, quote unquote, philosophies, not the older ones. The new philosophies are like, hey, like, you just got to vibrate high all the time. And that's why I wrote the song. It doesn't work that way. That's why I wrote the song called Bigger Person, when I was like, fuck being a big person. Because that's how I felt that day.
Right.
And I'm not afraid to feel that and write about it in that moment, even if I was the bigger person. I wrote about not being a bigger person because, you know, I ain't trying to go to jail. I like getting my nails done and eyebrows done and shit, and that ain't it. You know, but I'm aware. You know, it's about awareness, you know. I feel like you asked me one question. And
nah, it's cool. That's how we flow over here. This is about your life. I mean,
yeah.
So go ahead, though.
No, just being a bigger person, because I want to focus on that song. Like, I know a lot of the times being bigger means holding back when you have to be bigger. So for you to say, you know, you're about being vulnerable, I get it. Yeah. I heard the song and now it all makes sense, because sometimes we don't want to be bigger.
Or it hurts. Sometimes it hurts to be like, this person thinks I'm pussy. No, for real. Like, I'm letting you slide because I don't want to go to jail.
Right.
And because I'm aware that you're not even worth it. And now you think that I'm pussy.
Just because of that.
You think you can walk around doing this to other people because I didn't check you. And I got to have conversations with my creator. Like, listen, fam, what you about to do about this? Because I'm feeling like if you need me to be your angel of war, I'm ready to pull up. Just give me the word and tell me I'm not going to jail. And I'm going to rock it out for you. Like, I got you. But it's an understanding of sometimes it hurts to do the right thing.
It sure does.
It does. Sometimes doing the right thing hurts. And growth doesn't always feel good. It hurts. Stretching. I'm stretching. I'm still stretching.
Yes.
And it hurts sometimes. Sometimes it's like, oh, it feels so good to look back and see that I've stretched. But when I am stretching, it doesn't always feel good. And I think people have this fairy tale world about what growth looks like. Growth hurts. My ex, I remember he had these like little stretch marks down his spine. That was little lines going up his spine, a couple. I'm like, what's that? He said, I had a growth spurt when I was like 12, and I went from like 5'2" to like 5'11" in a summer. And this is what happened.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow. Just the physical depiction of what growth looks like.
Yeah.
There's scars.
Yeah.
You know? There's scars. You know, and people confuse that shit. And I'm not confused.
Mental scars.
Right. And I'm not confused. So when I wrote Bigger Person, it's because I didn't go to his house and fuck shit up. I'm just keeping it a stack.
Right.
But I wanted to.
Yeah,
you get what I mean? I wanted to so bad because he earned it.
And you had the power to.
And I understood my power enough to know I had the power to. Like, you wasn't about to get no yams for at least a month because I'm coming here.
Exactly.
To fuck shit up on my behalf. On behalf of my ancestors, okay? That's the way I felt. I felt like the ancestors behind me. It was like 3 of them that was like, listen, if you really with it, I'm with it. And I had to be like the other 100 was like, you gotta chill.
because those are the same ancestors that give you the intuition to tell
me what was going on. No facts. The same intuition that was like, yo, go on Instagram, wake up and go there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, you got me fucked up. You nigga pussy. Wait a minute. You know who you fucking with, you know. Anyway.
This is all good because it's all in the mind of the creator.
It's true,
right?
and it's honest, you know. So, and the person I wrote Bigger Person about, like 2 years, a year and a half later, is like, yo, I can't believe you really felt that way. I'm like, you still don't know that your ancestors protected you from me and my ancestors because you almost died.
Because you was ready for war.
I'm gonna ask you that too, because I mean, how is it just as a writer and like putting things out there that you know those people will listen to, and then you basically have to be in front of them and almost have that conversation. How does that really feel for you? Are you ever scared to kind of put that out in the world?
I know. I never scared. I know it. I felt it.
Never. The nerve of you to treat me in any other way than what I deserve to be treated. And I'm saying it because I'm very leery with the word deserve. I don't just throw that around. I'm only saying deserve because I used to think that what I give out, I give back.
Yes.
I thought that the world was that way. It broke my heart when I learned that that's not the way it is. And understanding that if even outside of that, when something comes from my heart, it comes from my heart. And if it doesn't come back, that's okay. Yeah. Like, you gotta be okay with that. Like, and not like fake okay. Like, yo, this is what my heart is telling me to do. This is what my mind and my ancestors are telling me to do. This is what God is telling me to do. And I'm gonna do that. And if you don't give it back, that's fine. But I also don't have to allow access. You get what I mean? Right. Like, I think we don't, I used to think that I needed to love less. And then I learned that I needed to create boundaries. Mm-hmm. It was a difference, you know? I used to think that, oh, I feel you and I feel your energy and maybe I should, no. You were supposed to be their friend, not their girl. Right. Or like, you know, maybe I really do understand you. And it's like, yeah. Understanding them does not mean that you have to be subject to their abuse because they don't know any better. Right. You know, or your own, let's get into some real shit, or your own feeling of like, mom was in jail, daddy wasn't there. And so now you feel like in some little ways, you're a people pleaser. And so you want to be this and want to be that. And you can see it and you can see that. And you're not understanding that you're being mistreated. Right. Or if you are, you think like, maybe nobody understands them like I do. It is not my job to be abused at the expense of your lesson. Mm. And if I notice it, then I get to fucking walk away. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I didn't understand some of these things. I didn't have some of the lessons. But now that I know, that's where fuck being in the bigger person comes from. Because it's like, I can actually rip you apart and I'm choosing not to. And you really walking around like shit is sweet. Like I can't chop your throat. Nimrenge Kyo. Right. And instead of like, obviously I'm not going to put everything that I've worked for at risk. So Bigger Person came out as a record, you know, instead. And I'm grateful for that outlet and that superpower, because that's what it is. Yeah.
It is a superpower.
It's like an X-Men. People who are creatives, you are creatives, are X-Men in some right. Like X-Men, you know, were granted gifts without repentance, like the Bible says. You know, some people sing and no one in their family sings, and I was like, oh, this is the definition of an X-Men. Yeah. Like, you know, like mine was hella hereditary. I had mad X-Men before me. Like, how'd you do it? You know, and recognizing that makes me have an appreciation for what I now call a gift, because I didn't always call it that, because I feel things so deeply, I called it a curse. You know, like it hurts. Yeah. It's like, Coco, I feel it when you sing. And I'm like, because I'm hurting. You know?
Yeah,
like it wasn't. It wasn't. But now I understand that is also a superpower because I watch how it transforms when you deal with your own pain, and it forces you to deal with your trauma. You know, because then you recognize that you're powerful enough to feed the people nonsense and negativity. So it's important to deal with it so that you can give them the best part of yourself. And if that was 5 years ago and you've grown, I can live with like, 5 years ago, I gave you what I had.
Right.
You know, opposed to like, I knew this was some bullshit. Right. You know, so it's interesting.
And people don't always necessarily know the pain you've been through and what you're giving them and how you're giving it to them.
Yeah.
You're not just writing these songs from other perspectives, etc. I mean, one of the things that's crazy to me is that you've been around for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember like when you kind of first came into the scene, the marketing was heavy. Like it was just like, it was in your face. Like here's Cocoa Sarai, here's Cocoa Sarai. 4 albums later, you know, you still released a track like Big Dummy, right? And when you listen to those words, I feel like there's so many artists that might give up at a certain time. So what was that song for you? And how big and impactful has it been to other people? What's kind of the feedback that you've gotten?
Man, Big Dummy is one of those ones where I'm talking about being this is annoying me. Big Dummy is one of those ones where I'm talking about the vulnerability of chasing a dream that doesn't pay right away, of wanting something so bad and not really seeing it reflect in your bank account when your family is West Indian and you're second and third generation. Girl! And they look at what you do as like a hobby. Because if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, a preacher, or a teacher, you're a fucking dub. Okay? Yeah. And they don't understand what you're doing with your life, you know? And Big Dummy was going to the studio with this much gas in my car in California.
Where the gas prices are extra high.
Where the gas prices are $5 a gallon because I got I got a nice car. And I gotta put premium in that bad boy, and it's a lot of money. You know, it's a disrespectful amount of money to fill my tank
on a regular basis.
But I gotta get around.
Get to the studio.
But I gotta get around because that's my job.
Yeah,
my job is going to the studio because I chose that life. You know, which is a blessing, and also like sometimes money coming in, sometimes money ain't, and so Big Dummy felt good to release. And I didn't know how people were going to take it. I thought that this is only going to resonate with older crowds. And when I did the live performance of it on Major Stage, and it blew up in the internet, and I had kids singing it, like kids of every age range, color, complexion, singing Big Dummy. I'm like, how do you even know? Like, you've been alive long enough to love something long enough to know what this feels like.
But here we go.
They did.
Here we go. When you mention the women that inspired you, like Tina Turner, like Whitney Houston, that sing from a place of deep love and pain. You were that young singing their songs.
I was mad young singing their songs and feeling it.
Erykah Badu word for word at 13.
It's the same thing.
Not even understanding what some of these things meant, but I meant it.
You meant it.
Yes.
And so when I saw kids singing it back in their cars or in their schools or like tagging me, and I see it and I'm like, oh my God. Like, one,
it hit different.
I'm so hurt that you're feeling this way because you deserve so much more. So my natural response is like, just know you can do it.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm such a teacher. I was a teacher for 10 years. And the other part of me is like, you know, wow. There was someone who was a big wig in the industry that told me, I don't like this song. And I was like, you can't relate because you ain't never been this broke.
Right.
So maybe this one isn't for you. And that was okay because I got mad records. I got tons of records that ain't out. So if this one ain't for you, I'm okay with that, you know? So Big Dummy has been important because, one, it's the only song that I had a song called Raining in My Room that no one could let me do a show without singing it. And Big Dummy is the first song that could replace that song. So I felt like the only song that was as good as Raining in My Room was Big Dummy. And it took me years.
Wow.
Big Dummy came out in 2011. No, Raining in My Room came out in 2011. Big Dummy came out in 2020.
2020.
You get what I mean?
It's a big gap.
It's a big gap. And I did mad
took you that
music
long
and
to
people
find
love
that
it.
joint.
But I'm realizing that the way people resonated to Big Dummy was because of it attaching to something that had nothing to do with someone else. Big Dummy is not about your relationship with another human who is
about your
fickle.
relationship with yourself.
It's about your relationship with yourself and how you feel about yourself and how people are talking about you when you're doing something that you've been doing. Like, I'm doing this every day. I get up and they're like, well, I work as a nurse at a hospital and now I'm now I'm this and now I'm that and I'm working on the floor. And now you can see your progress when you're working in other industries. When you're working in art, it's hard to see your progress unless you start to document it right where it's at. So what helped me not feel so connected to numbers when I started putting out this 3-part EP for Cacao was like, I'm gonna put out part 1 and I'm gonna see what it does. I knew only one song on part 1 was new. And I'm like, they're not gonna like it. Big Dummy and Coffee in the Morning's on here. We got videos for these bad boys. Ain't nobody gonna care. People love Foolish Heart. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna put out part 2 a month later.
That's my joint right there.
Yeah.
Because you got the little patois and all of that. Like,
Listen, when you hear this new reggae album about to drop, man.
Oh, word.
Reggae and Afrobeats. I have a whole bunch of stuff coming.
Nice.
I'm so excited and it's so different from what I've done. But we're going to get back to that.
Okay.
So when I got to part 2, this was all new music.
Okay.
And I was nervous, but it did so well. And then part 3, same thing. And I could see growth between each. So instead of talking to somebody like, oh, I did 100,000 streams, I'm like, I did 50,000 more on the second project and I did 300,000 more on the third project. I'm looking at my growth in a way of I'm growing from where I am to where I'm going, opposed to like Drake's doing 8 million the first week.
It's hard. It's hard in the industry.
Artist, you can't. How do you measure your growth when your finances don't match your celebrity?
And also, as creatives, we're constantly measuring our growth based on how much somebody else likes it.
Yeah.
Rather than, okay, where I started creatively based on, inspiration back then to where I am now and how I'm able to create based off of inspiration. We should be doing that a little bit more often.
Yeah.
And we don't.
I mean, because it's hard.
It's hard, yeah.
Look at what's in our faces all day,
Yeah.
And I'm also not mad at that because don't get it twisted. If a bitch get a deal and it work out, we out.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to tell the same stories. It just means I have a wider fan base to tell it to.
Right.
It's the machine at the end of the day.
And I go back and forth with that. I'm about what's the best situation for me and what I want for my music, for my legacy, for my children. There's no way I've been doing this long and my grandkids don't get to get something off of it.
Yes.
Right. That's the point.
I've in my mind, no one else is. In my mind, if I do that, I failed them. Because I know better. And it's deep, it's heavy. Yeah. Because I ain't 12 no more. Right.
And I mean, when it comes to this indie grind, I think a lot of people over the years have realized how much of an opportunity exists, especially present day, when you have all these streaming platforms. I think even just Nipsey Hussle kind of opened up a lot of people's minds to it. So, I mean, with that said, do you still feel like even right now, being indie right now is the most lucrative situation for you?
If I had the financial backing to do the things that I need to do, then yes.
Okay.
Because if I have the money already, then I can play the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I've worked to build the connections, but if I don't have that money, I'm like, I don't know. But I'm open to all conversations right now. And if it doesn't make sense for me, then I will politely decline as I have been doing.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. That's power. It's power in that.
Yeah.
Power in that.
Because I am my label. When people see these videos and they're like, they're amazing, I'm like,
I did that.
I paid for that.
Right.
So when they're asking for more visuals, I'm like, did you buy any merch?
Right.
Oh, shut up. That's the way I feel. Like, I don't say that. I'm like, no, for real. Like, people be like,
You gotta tell them that
Buy
sometimes.
the merch
like,
so we
yo,
can make the next joint.
do y'all understand how
the
this works?
fuck? Like, and you think this money growing trees?
Yeah.
Right.
You didn't even watch it for the full 3 minutes. The nerve.
I can get the stream.
The nerve of you.
You need that royalty money too.
Like, it's
Where's
like
that ass
negative
cap?
2.3% on a goddamn stream and stop playing with me.
Yeah.
Okay, you asking for more videos. Did you
Stream more. Tell
do
a friend,
anything
tell a
to
friend.
help? Okay.
Yeah.
Big Dummy cost me an organ almost, and for real.
Phenomenal video.
Listen, thank you. It hurts. I still think about it with
Labor of love, labor of love, labor of love.
Let me tell you, but I'm grateful I did it because
That's
I
you
had a
trusting
purpose for it.
yourself.
Yeah.
It is, So now this year, niggas gonna have to run them streams up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'll give a video, but it's only because I have to pay for it. But, in that regard, people see what I'm capable of doing with so little.
Yes.
Right.
And somebody will come along and be like, yo, I want to be a part. I want to be in business. And if it makes sense, then I'll do it. And if it doesn't, niggas is going to get these records. And they're just going to have to deal until they,
Right.
But it's also a matter of right now at this point, and I want to get this tatted and get this as a neon sign. Remember, this is supposed to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
We forget that. I forgot that for a lot of years. And I'm reminded of that. Like, this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I've been saying this since I was 2.
Supposed to be stressed.
It's supposed to be fun. I'm going to be stressed. It's work. It's a business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm spending my money.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's not fun all the time.
No.
But, like, I got to remember that this is supposed to be fun. And that's what these next 2 projects are about. Is I literally
one,
went
but
into
2.
it like, I want to have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because it reflects, and what is going to be for me is going to be for me. Not saying I'm sitting down waiting for the universe to just pull up. Oh, no. I'll be on the universe ass. Wagwan, my youth.
Right.
That's where we at. Like, what's up?
I've come to collect.
I
Yeah.
put in that work. What's go?
So how did a Brooklyn girl end up in Cali?
Oh, man. I was on this TV show called The Four.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
With Khaled, Diddy.
Because I
Meghan
watched.
Trainor, Charlie Walk.
But you did that show after you've already been in the music industry for many of years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got asked by a million people to do it, and I did it. I was a teacher at the time. I went to Cali. I performed. I ended up crying because I did Jealous, and I thought about my mom.
Yeah.
And it was rough, and they invited me to be a part of the show. Episode 1, it was some fuckery, and I was waiting to go on, and I didn't go on.
Wow.
And then
Why is that?
Just TV,
Just had 'em-
man.
TV shit.
TV shit that I probably am under contract that I
Can't talk about. Got you.
NDAs. But at the end of the day, it's television,
Right.
Those don't expire.
Yeah.
Some of them don't.
Some of
Not
them
that
don't,
one.
yeah.
It was like, man, it was thick.
Wow.
That was a thick amount of pages, my nigga.
Wow.
I ain't gonna lie. Shit was crazy. I was looking through all that, like, first of all, we crossing this out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that. I don't even know what this means. First of all, this perpetuity word is wild. Like, stop putting that in
Forever.
contract. Perpetuity is like
Forever.
after your
Love that word.
grandkids die. That's
Forever.
it's disrespectful. Like,
It
I'm not
is.
even here no more. Why is perpetuity in
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Like, give it a couple generations.
Yeah.
You stingy.
So you ain't going episode 1, and then what happened when you know?
They call me back to ask. I go back home. They call me back to ask me to do
Back to New
episode
York.
2.
Wow.
They asked me to do
And
episode
this on your
2.
own dime too.
No,
Or they flew
handled
you
that.
out.
They
They
definitely
better.
did that.
Yeah,
I
Fuck.
was
The
I'm
fuck?
saying.
a Brooklyn budget. I was a teacher. It was a
Yeah.
dub. I wasn't doing none of that.
Yeah.
They flew me back, and I did the show. The most beautiful part about it is that I made so many amazing artist friends that
Yes.
live in LA now.
Okay.
During my time there, I think I got off the show the 4th. It aired the 11th. I met Dr. Dre on the 6th through an amazing producer, soundscaper, Focus 3 Dots, who had played my music for him like a year, 2 years prior. And it was like, I guess he was like, yo, Coco's in town. I don't know the full story. I'll never know. But that's what I'm thinking. Yo, Coco's in town.
Coco's in town. Jay's like, all right, cool, bring it through.
Dre's like, hey, what up? Yeah. So Focus is like, you want to come to the studio? I'm like, yeah, I'm at dinner with my friends. I'm supposed to leave the next morning, the 7th. This is 2018.
To come back and teach.
To come back and teach.
Okay.
You know, I didn't tell them I was coming back because I was still going to take like an extra 3 days because I need to process what the fuck is happening with my life. And I'm like, niggas. Sorry, y'all. And so I go to the studio on the 6th and I meet Dre and I get there. He's in the middle of the console room and Focus comes in and was like, yo, coach, she's amazing. And Dr. Dre says, you know, oh shit, well, the mic hot. And I was like, shit, you ain't said nothing but a word because it's something about losing on national television. And you don't know. And you don't know what it's going to look like. That it's like, it's now or never. What's called.
Yeah.
What we doing? Because I got to go back home anyway.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Now that I know him, I probably wouldn't have did that knowing him. But like back then, I'm like, what's up? And he's like, all right. And we just ended up working on a song that night. Hit like 5, 6 in the morning. And my homeboy's there, and I'm like, yo, can I stay by you? And he's like, all right. So I say to Trey, like, yo, if we could work this week, I ain't getting on the plane. He says, all right. And he leaves out the room. And everybody's like, Dre has left the building. I'm like,
what that
That's
mean?
it?
Shit, I'm going to stay because I don't know what that means, you know? I ended up losing my wallet, being stuck in Cali for like till like the 18th.
Sounds a blessing. You said the 18th. The board of ed ready to fire you.
Yeah, I just told them like something still happening with the TV show because it aired on the 11th. And when it aired, I was in the studio, so my phone was ringing off so crazy that it died.
Wow.
But I didn't care because I was on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Like, I really do music, you know? So I was just like, all right, whatever.
You and Dre. I'm going to ask, like, was he a favorite producer before? Is he a favorite producer now after? Like, he's a lot of people's favorite producer.
So I'm a singer, so I paid more attention to R&B.
Right.
Okay.
I love hip hop because I'm from Brooklyn.
Yes.
And my mom was like a gung-ho hip hop fan. But my favorite was Babyface. I met him too, and that's when I had a whole like I almost tripped.
Shit.
I almost like tripped.
I
over
would
my
too.
feet. It was a whole thing. I never seen so many plaques in my life. Dre's different. He don't got none of his plaques in the studio.
Word?
None of them. Look at me. None of them.
Yeah, his crib?
He
just...
they there somewhere, but
they in a box somewhere.
He cares more about what we're gonna do now.
Right now.
And
hungry.
that mentality.
Always hungry.
And that mentality that like, yo, let's just be creative. Let's be free. Will carry me into the rest of my life. And I'm grateful for being around that man. He has given me a voice. I was the only girl at Aftermath.
Wow.
He would just be like, go. What you want to sing? Go. You want to rap? Go. Wow. You want to add opera to it? Go. And if it wasn't it, he'd be like, nah, and move to the next song. And you was going to have to pick your pride up, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
and keep it moving.
And we working on the next thing.
Yeah.
Because it's really about the best possible creative thing that comes out of this. It's not about egos. And he is one person that is in the music industry that is not about egos. And I've met so many other people who are moguls, trust me, and they're all about like da-da-da-da-da. And Dre's like, yeah, whatever. What I could do with you. That fire and passion is unmatched. And I will forever be grateful for it. Working with him day in and day out for a year, while I also work with Anderson, who was amazing, was like, you going to school for your doctorates.
Yeah, wow.
And the beautiful part about it is I got to be everything I was.
Just
like
yourself.
My potty mouth self.
It was all good.
You get what I mean? My gospel self, my fucking, you get what I mean? Talking my shit self, my like, all of it.
Yeah.
All of it was just like, all right, what you hear on the record? I'm like, well, I think we'll try it. And he vocal produces and he it's
another level.
It's beautiful in a way that I would have never known because I never paid attention to it beforehand.
Got it.
You know, and I'm grateful because if anything, what it taught me is freedom.
So what is a Dre session like? Does things have to be set a certain way? Do certain things need to be in that studio at the time? Or is it just, let's just go straight into the music?
Gin and Juice is going to be there, but everything else is who he wants to be there and the energy in the space. He's all about energy.
Nice.
He's about energy. Nice. All this other shit, like ego shit, what you did, who you are, energy. If you come in as a brand new person and never had a record in your life and you're amazing and the energy's good,
he's going to work.
Y'all working on some shit if that's where he's at that day. And you're afforded the opportunity to be in the room because not everybody gets in the room.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a blessing, man.
I mean, you mentioned Pac. Like outside of that, like have you been in the studio with Kendrick, etc.?
I haven't been in the studio with Kendrick.
Okay.
That would be amazing. I'm a big Kendrick fan.
Yeah,
I might just be
crazy.
sitting there like, that's crazy.
Don't do nothing.
Coco, what you
Just
think?
in awe.
Listen,
It's
crazy.
all great.
you want me to think? All right. I got you. I got thoughts. But like in the meantime, just do what you're doing. You know, there's a beauty in it because I engineer myself. So there's a beauty in like being still and being able to see other people's creative
Fly on the
processes.
wall.
Yeah, because I'm not necessarily, if I try to be a fly on the wall, but people will be like, what you doing? Well, you know. So that would
going
be an honor.
back to Dre, what was the biggest thing that you sharpened in your skills just working with him? Was it, do you feel like your writing sharpened more? I mean, you probably leveled up all areas.
Yes.
But if you could pick one that stood out above the rest.
That's not fair.
Fair.
That's not fair because anyone around Dre, if you're working with him regularly, you're going to be better.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is not a man that is mediocre in any sense of the word in any part of his life.
Yeah.
Not even in his
At
personal
all.
life and himself. He's all about excellence and all about feeling. If it feels good, it is good. And then perfecting that feeling so that it translates to you. It's a difference between like, oh, this feels good. And then like you didn't mix it properly so it doesn't translate to people who don't understand that music is a feeling.
Right.
All of those things, you know, he is that through and through. He's a creative and an artist through and through. And he recognizes talent. And I'm not just saying that because he recognized me because I was shocked. I was like, me? Nigga, for real.
Now
So-
what's funny? Go ahead.
I was going to say, let's talk about Cacao. I want to talk about Cacao.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how that reflects on Cocoa Sarai and like the space that you're in right now. Because now that I've actually spoken to you and know the backstory, I really, really feel like Cacao, there is a full circle. Because you came in on some full circle energy in this room today. So
I was turned.
Yes.
From the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Cacao.
Man, my mom called me chocolate since I was a child. I'm the darkest of the children. I'm the oldest, but I'm still the darkest. And I think she knew that the world wasn't going to be kind to the complexion that I was. Because, you know, we live in New York and colorism is a thing and like whatever.
Yeah.
So she called me chocolate. She put a chocolate bar next to me as a kid one day and was like, you're the exact same color. And I looked at her and I was like, you right. You know, like I'm allergic to chocolate though. And so is she. So I was never really a fan of it.
That's
Most
funny.
people don't know that. But so many people were, you know, and she would always remind me when I came home, like they're teasing me. She's like, you're original. Anybody lighter than you, somebody was raped. I was like, that's terrible. I don't want to go back to school and say that, mommy. But she was very adamant about it. And just finding ways to find pride in it, even though she knew some history, but not all of it. I went and sought out history for myself and for my students when I was a teacher, you know. So this album was a short form coming of age. And not for every Black girl, because I hate when people like try to make their experience everyone's experience.
And it's not.
I'm not every Black girl's experience.
Right.
I'm my experience.
Yeah.
And every Black girl has their own experience.
Right.
Not every Black girl went through colorism and feeling crazy.
Right.
Not every Black girl grew up in a fucked up family. Not every Black girl. Some Black girls had it good.
Yeah.
And I love those Black girls too. Because they have a different experience. You get what I mean? Colorism is a thing in this world. And so you're having a different experience, whether you're darker or lighter, especially as a woman in the music industry, period. And I think my mom knew that was going to be a thing. She was a little bit lighter than me. She's brown, but she knew. And she would always instill in me how beautiful I was whenever she could. The world taught me otherwise. I had to work through it, you know?
Yeah.
And so cacao is the base form of chocolate. Cacao is what chocolate comes from. It's the pods that the chocolate comes from. They have to ferment. They have to sit. It is not
It's a
a
process.
small
Process.
process.
It is a
Cacao is a
process.
process. What you get with that sweet ass chocolate you get, cacao itself is actually full of antioxidants. It's full of like healthy things for you, but it's bitter when you first eat it.
Okay.
It's not sweet.
Right.
And so when you learn what that is in the process of it, it feels like a process when people see me and they're like, yo, Coco, I love how annoying when women be like, you're so confident. I'm like, you don't say that to Beyonce. And you don't say that to, you never say that to any lighter skinned women. People never say to lighter skinned women how confident they are.
No.
They'll say to me, I love how confident you are.
Yeah.
Bitch, what? I like me. You don't like you, bitch? The fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, this is not something I had to, like, work for. I really genuinely fucks with me. Like, you know what I mean? And so that's an interesting thing. And so with Cacao, when I chose to name it this, it was because I had one song on the project as a whole that felt like the blackest, black-ass love song you ever heard in your life. Because any other race is not going to understand. He might be the one oiling my scalp, massage my temples with you. I can rest my head. Some people of other races don't need to oil their scalp. The scalp produces too much oil. It's a very black thing. We need oil in our scalp because our scalp will dry out if we're black and have kinky or coily hair. Shower now, shea butter my body down, feet up to my dreads. Shea butter is all I can use. I was born with eczema. Everyone talks about my skin being amazing. Shea butter, okay? And no dairy.
Saving lives.
And
No
water.
dairy.
That's what has helped me. And, you know, some other things that I, do to take care of my skin once a month or whatever. He loved this chocolate. He fucked with this before it was a trend. Because it's trendy to be chocolate now.
Yes.
So the motherfuckers that was on my body like 8 years ago, that was just like, something about that when I'm like,
they knew. They knew.
Ahead of the trends.
and this is nothing against our lighter complected black women. This is just my experience because my baby sister is a beautiful pecan tan and that's my baby, But we have different experiences in the world because she is considered a red bone and I'm considered dark skinned. And she understands that. She learned that too. Yeah. And the last line, when we collide, suicide, overdosing on this melanin, black love is not something that you see too often. Even in TV, they show racially ambiguous or, couples that don't look like it's me and you or me and you, and so I understand what media does to perpetuate that to children and what that looks like and how that affects them growing up, and how it affected my life as a dark-skinned female child growing up in Bushwick with Spanish people. It was rough. But I just started fucking shit up and we was going to be all right. That was it. You're going to hurt my feelings, I'm going to punch you in the face. And we're going to be all right.
And that's it.
Because that's the way it was at one point,
Okay, cool.
But the point I'm making is when I'm talking about Cacao, and those were the first 4 lines of the song about a black-ass love. Like, this is the way it's supposed to be. I wrote a song where I had to talk about God because the first 4 lines I wrote about a guy, the same guy I wrote Bigger Person about. And then he messed up. And I wrote Bigger Person, so I had to come back to write the song. And when I had to come back to write the song, the only way to make it authentic was to talk about God. Fam, that was stressful. But when I listen back to it now I have a love in my life that I can be like, wow, I wrote you into my story.
Manifested.
But it needed to be honest and it needed to be true. But it was a black ass experience. And so I can't speak for every black girl's experience, but I can speak for mine. And I decided to name the whole project Cacao. Yeah. And then I split it up into 3 because algorithms are ass.
Yeah, girl.
And that's why I did it. And I was just like, there's a lot to say here, and I want to say it all and I want people to get it. So I'm going to take my time with it. Even though I knew I had 2 other full projects waiting that I really was excited to get to, I wasn't going to half-ass my R&B project that I spent so much time on. I had so much to say about, so it feels good to see people relate to it, and I'm just grateful. Yeah.
The timing, I mean, even though it's on trend now, even so, the timing is still perfect because it's on trend, because it's now at the forefront of the conversation about our melanin, about colorism, about how we've divided ourselves, about how we don't have all the same experiences as black people.
Yes.
We don't. Even in love. Yes. We do not have the same experiences as black people.
That's very true. That's very true.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. That means a lot to me from another black woman because I was very aware and intentional about that. When I was speaking about the blurbs and like when we're pitching and everything, I'm like, this is not every black girl's experience. This is my black experience, And we may connect and intersect in different places, but it's not everyone's experience. So don't box us in, because y'all don't do that to any other race.
Right.
True.
Let us be great. Let us be whole. Let us be diverse. Mm-hmm. Let us be beautiful. Let us be angry.
Right.
Let us be angry, because everyone else gets to do it except us.
Right.
Let us. And if you don't let us, we're going to do it anyway. And right now, you have no choice but to pay attention. Fuck out of here. That's it. Yeah. Fuck you want, Because I'm going to keep talking about this shit. And if you like the way I say, you gonna listen to this shit, because I'm not gonna stop. It's a dub. Like, I'm still
the
from Brooklyn.
ancestors told you.
They told me to tell you, fuck out of here. Right. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And that's another reason I appreciate Drake, because I walked in on like, he's like, all right, cool.
That's what's up.
He was never like, you need to calm down. Yeah. You need to be quiet.
No, just like let it
You need
come
to be
through.
still. He's like, I like that shit.
The energy.
And I was like, cool. Is he short? Am I in trouble? I was never disrespectful, but I had perspective, and I wasn't afraid, and he fucked with that. And I think it resonated, because real recognized real in so many ways. And same with AP, who's a fucking genius. He's a genius in so many ways. I wish people could see him work.
I mean, one of the things that you mentioned is how free Dre let you be. And when it comes to the patois and the rapping, right, I feel like there's a track with Pac, right, where even Dre's doing patois. So I wanted to, because you
Which
rapping.
one?
No, is it Mansa Musa where you're
Mansa Musa, yeah.
You're rapping.
I am rapping. I'm singing in the background, but I'm rapping.
You
on
got
that
bars
record.
on it, and then it goes straight into Dre.
Yeah.
And then I heard him say something like, "What's going on with these people?" or something like that. So. Is that your pen? I gotta ask straight out. Was that your pen?
He felt the vibe.
There is there's a creative energy in the studio, and Dre is very much involved in everything that we do. Okay. There are other people there that are creatives as well, and they add to it. Okay. Dre, when I walk into the room, I'm like, Wagwan, we call him Coach. I call him Coach. Wagwan Coach. He said, Wagwan Coach. He called me Cocaina. You know what I mean? That's my name. Coke or Cocaina. I got mad different nicknames amongst different people in the music industry. Cocaina. That's my name. That's what he calls me.
Cali Coke. No.
You know what I'm saying? That's a new one. Because I'm from Brooklyn, so they would never violate me like that. They don't be like, you a BK girl, and they know it. Because when I walk in, it's all on me. Right. It don't go away no matter where I go. I tried. And so I think I don't know why that happened, but it was his song first, actually. Mansa Musa was a Dr. Dre song.
What project was that supposed to go on? The Compton joint?
I mean,
you don't even know.
I wasn't around for Compton, so
okay. I
wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna say
That's true. The timeline.
What I'm gonna say is 2018 is when I met him. Things are going, and Mansa Musa was his record, and Anderson liked it and got that one. Me and Anderson had a duet together that didn't work out for the album. Okay. And I love both of them for being like, this duet didn't work. We're going to make sure Coco's on it. So when Mansa Musa came into play, shout out to Black Soul for coming up with that hook back on my bullshit. Black Soul, I love you, man. He's so dope. There were other talented writer, producers, artists that were around at that time. And Black Soul came up with that hook. And, the record happened. And then Anderson came in and took off a verse and bodied his shit, and they were like, "Yo, Coco, you gotta do your verse." I don't remember if my verse was on it already. I can't remember that. My money, pocket so I'm Jamaican. If you ever heard that song, it's a West Indian song. Yeah. Like, I'm Jamaican, so. It just worked out, and AP's like, yeah, you gotta fix these 2 lines though. And I fixed the last 2 lines, and then it was a part of it. And I remember thinking, like, everyone's going to think I'm a rapper. But I really started rapping on wax when I started working with Dre. Wow. I was helping to write.
You got bars though, like you.
Right,
You
like
rap,
I really
you
do
rap,
rap. Like I really do, but I just never did it on record because I sing and I didn't want to fight with the rappers. I'm from New York, niggas rap.
I'm
like
saying, but like,
I wasn't playing with them. I'm not playing with y'all.
see, in my head, I'm like, yo, was that Lauryn in your head, like Lauryn Hill?
No,
like saying,
people started comparing me to Lauryn after I started working with Dre
because of the rapping, because that mix.
Yeah. But it was,
like,
it just came natural.
Okay,
because I've done spoken word since 11.
Okay.
Like I really do spoken word. Like I'm a poet.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, which made it easier for me to help write for Dre and stuff like that, or with him. Not for you, write with Dre. You don't write for Dre.
Got it. The pens are shit.
Real shit. It's with. You don't write for him. You write with him.
Okay. Except for Hove.
No, Dre. I don't know what Hove did. I wasn't there, but Hove is that guy.
Okay.
So we not even. I'm in Brooklyn. What are you saying to me right now? Don't put me in this position.
That's all I'm saying.
Hove is Hove. That's the
Hove.
president of the United States of Black people.
Right.
Okay, and that's it. There's nothing to talk about.
Random question: have you ever done spoken word at Bowery Poetry Club when it was a thing?
I did.
That's where I remember you from.
Yeah.
Every Tuesdays.
I did it one time.
I used to go there on Tuesdays.
Hope was like this.
I did it one time.
You came in, I was like,
I did it one time. I got a piece.
So
I
when
will
you-
perform it for y'all too. I never do it on I've never done it on any platforms.
Oh, no,
I
you-
would. I'm down. I have a piece called PTSD that's like really important to me, and I'm gonna be releasing a book soon because I think people are like don't know. You know, when people know you for one thing, they're like, do that. Don't do anything else, and you're like,
You gotta do everything.
all the
I'm gonna be all the things I am. And I'm just gonna give it to you in doses because you don't know how to deal with all of it. But I got you, bro. But there's a piece called PTSD that I did that I ended up performing like 2 years ago. And there was a dancer behind me that was embodying the PTSD. It was the most genius thing. Shout out to Kai Martinez for putting that together. Where there was a poet and there was a dancer paired up. And the show that it created was amazing. Amazing. I can't wait to release this book of poetry and like
Wow.
I'm taking my time.
So
now.
you dropping
Take
a
your
lot.
time.
Yo, book of poetry, and you said you got 2 other projects.
Oh yeah.
Right? So you
yeah.
even talk about the projects. So just like real brief, you threw it out there. We want to hear a little bit about the projects that are on the way.
Yo, so I'm Jamaican, me as a yard gal. And my mom used to be like, "What wrong with you? You're doing like your people," you know. But it wasn't that. I'm a second generation, you know, American.
Yeah.
My grandpa's from Jamaica, and for some reason, I'm like, yo, my cousins used to call me a Yankee. I ain't about the, you know, for those
I
of
hate
you,
that.
for those of you watching, a Yankee is an American person. And when you go foreign, which is Jamaica,
Yes, I was just.
all right,
Yeah, from foreign.
and you try to
call
talk
you
the
Yankee.
patois, no matter how good you think you sound to your friends in America, Jamaicans will let
They
you know
will-
that you're a fucking Yankee
Yeah.
so fast.
They will humble you.
Humble
Yeah.
you fast.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
humble you because you have privilege. Remind you that you have privilege. And
Right.
also, like, you one of
Yeah.
us, but you like barely, my nigga. You
Right.
know? And that was enough to affect me to be like, well, all right, I'm just going to do R&B. I don't got to fight with this. Even though I grew up in a house with the culture, with the food, with the music, with the art, with the intellect, with the knowledge, you know. And my auntie told me in 2020, she said, "What's wrong with you? Everybody else stealing your culture. And this is your culture. You born with it. It's in your blood. And you're not,
Use it.
you know." And I ended up doing this reggae album with Black Monday, who's an amazing producer, Jamaican American. He's out in LA. A lot of people wanted me to do this type of music before, but I didn't because the music didn't feel authentic. So I feel for me that this is my favorite project.
What?
This reggae project is my favorite project
Nice.
ever.
Nice.
It was just insane.
When are you dropping it?
There's some situations happening
Okay.
that might be great. So I was supposed to drop it on the 16th of July.
Really?
But I don't know if that's going to happen yet. I got to
Okay.
get through some
'Cause then
conversations.
there might be some
Yeah.
machines or something, you know. Just
Listen,
yeah.
we need help. We need help because Coco's money ain't working. But I may drop a single instead.
Okay, a little teaser.
Yeah.
We're ready for that.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell. A nigga's
I
hype.
can tell.
And
But this is what we talked about.
It means so much
Just
to me. And
creating
everyone
and
that
having
hears it.
fun.
That's
And
why I
having
did it. And there's an
fun.
Afrobeats project after
See,
that.
I tell you the
Shout out
fun.
to Tommy Tribe. Shout out to Brands who's a part of that. DJ Tunes and like, you know, it's connecting to the diasporas.
Yeah.
Ooh, having conversations with Africans that were born in Africa as a Jamaican American.
Different
convos and beautiful ones, because there are, I hate to say this word because Clubhouse got me tight at all of the educated Black women that use the word intersectionality.
Girl, I had to unsubscribe from.
Listen, I'm like, no, you do not have to take 20 words, like every word you learned in the dictionary, to explain this one thing. Say that you don't like it. You don't have to be like, honestly, the juxtaposition.
Oh, girl.
Between the equilibrium of the world and what's happening, you know, in this dichotomy means, like, sis.
It's giving, I read the dictionary.
We get
in prison.
it. Like, I'm an educated Black woman.
Yes.
It's okay, sis.
Yes.
Carry on. But the point I'm making is, yeah, so these two projects mean so much to me, and it feels good, so good to see so many people that are not close to me, but people that know me, that hear it, that are like, yo, this is it. This is your sound. And I'm like, actually, my sound is whatever I decide to be, because I'm still Cocoa Sarai.
At the end of the day.
All of this.
Right.
I'm not changing who I am. Yeah. I'm still the same potty mouth person sometimes. Right. I'm still the same intentional person, the same naked, you know, person on all of this type of music.
Multifaceted.
And I think that women are told they have to be one thing. That's why I did the record No Apologies on part 3 of Cacao. And I'm like, men never have to choose. Men can be like,
whatever they want.
Yo, today I'm a thought. Tomorrow I'm working in corporate. Guess what? You hoes is gonna love me regardless. Because I got money.
Right.
And I feel like women are taught, like, you're either a good girl or a bad girl. You're either a mother or you're a stripper. You're either a teacher or this. And I'm like, I grew up in church my whole life. I'm a whole teacher. I will punch somebody directly square in the face. You get what I mean? If I need to twerk on the ceiling because that's what I feel like doing on a Tuesday, bitch is throwing it up on the motherfucking ceiling. I'm still going to get straight sober. I'm still going to get straight A's. I'm still going to create, and I can still uplift everyone around me because it's in my spirit and my heart to do so.
Amen.
You get what I mean? And you won't tell me that I can't be all these things, because you can't tell something that is designed to carry more than one life inside them that they're supposed to be one thing.
Listen.
Like, I'm designed to do that. I'm designed to multitask. And this is not about being better than men, because we need each other.
Right. Balance
is key. We need you.
Yes.
Do-do. I can pay my own light bill, baby.
Yes.
Jill Scott knew what the fuck she was talking about, you know? But the point I'm making is, you know, in all of this, is like, in the music, I reflect all of that because I'm not afraid. I'm just not afraid of what somebody gonna do, beat me up, because one day I want to be like, fuck being a bigger person, and the next day I'm like, you know what, I'm about to lay you down and lift you up, my brother. Today it's your turn.
That's it.
It's your time. But those things are both honest. Yes. Both days I'm honest, you know, and so.
And we appreciate the honesty.
We love it.
We love it all.
Oh, this is so good.
Miss Cocoa Sarai.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to hearing the new projects. We're looking forward to the poetry book. I mean, you got a lot going on. You welcome back anytime, too.
Yes, please.
I'll
come
out
back.
There.
Come back and have a little jam session. Come on.
I'm saying.
Listen, I think I'm going to do something while I'm here. So y'all are welcome. I'm going to put it up on my socials. I'm bad at letting people know because it'd be too many people to let know.
Right.
Okay. But it's going to go up on my page, you know. Okay. I'm thinking I'm going to do something while I'm here, because there's no place like home. And I specifically wanted to come back home to release this reggae project. It's specifically...
you know Brooklyn ready.
Yeah. You know Brooklyn ready. In New York, then the parties. You know what happened when reggae came on. That's when you got your first wine. Yes. You didn't even get to smell a girl until
it was amazing.
Right.
That's
you didn't know. It's a culture. And I realized when I went to other places, like, y'all don't dance to reggae for the parties. What the fuck?
Yeah, what y'all doing over here?
Like, what do y'all dance to?
Pump that pussy through the ground. I'm like, I mean,
how
we
you
had
dance?
that for like 2 seconds.
How you dub to that?
How you get a good wine to that?
How you get jean stains on the wall?
You don't know, or how
you don't know.
Or how?
You don't know.
Or how? Because you know, anybody went to reggae parties, they like to try to wear white pants. And the girls was going to have on red pants, green pants, orange pants. You didn't know until you had like a booty color stain on the crutches that
it went off.
Tide can't help you.
It might not help you, but you know what? You want to know.
It was a time.
And that thing is a very New York based thing. So this reggae project feels like if you grew up in New York City.
It's like a basement around Pitkin Ave.
Listen,
just like
the sweaty walls where the walls.
The sweaty walls.
If you go to put your hand on the wall to catch a W, you're like, oh, that's crazy. I could slip and die.
When you leave a party in the wintertime and steam.
It's
coming from
your head. They don't
know that life.
They don't know.
So we get all that big energy on this album.
Oh my gosh. And it's called Sugar Cane.
Wow.
Exclusive. That's it. It's Blue Dope. Sugar Cane.
It's called Sugar Cane, you know, because I was Jamaican living on a block, you know, my family had a brownstone. And we would eat sugar cane on the steps. The kids would be like, what they doing? They eating plants. We like, y'all stupid. You get what I mean? Like, what you mean? First of all, we wasn't allowed to go to the store with scarves on. No offense to anybody who chooses to do so. We wasn't allowed to do that in my house. My grandfather's like, let me tell you what you won't do. You won't do that in here.
No bonnet on the plane.
Bonnet on the plane? My grandfather was not having it.
That's what the conversation. I was like, I get what she's saying, but
because you should be able to allow to do what you want.
You do whatever you want to do, but I understood.
I couldn't do that growing up. That wasn't a thing. My grandfather, what? You got to be it. You going in the house. You on punishment.
Yeah.
You going to the store like what? Come back from the store and be like, can I get $1? You can go in the house, top floor. Don't leave till God tell you to stop. Because when God tell me, I tell you. You know, like, that's it. You was on punishment and you didn't know when. You thought you was going to be on punishment forever. Like, mommy, how long gonna be forever? And you'd be like, Dad, that's crazy.
That's a long time.
The phone. Spend the night at somebody's house. Spend the night.
No.
Spend the night.
And you West Indian?
No, it's not
Spend
happening.
the night where?
Girl child.
Where was you spending the night?
Girl child.
Whose house is this?
A girl child spending the night?
Never.
You must
What?
be mad. That's it.
What? What's wrong with you? Crazy. You must have lost your bumbo clap mind. What you mean?
That's it.
Spend the night where? In your house. In your home.
Yeah, right there.
In the basement. Yeah. No, you're not spending the night nowhere. That wasn't a thing in my family. So that's why, like, it'd be like, you know, that's another reason why I can understand why my mom was like, you are Jamaican as fuck. Yeah. Why are you hiding from this? And I'm like, because my accent ain't like what it need to be. She's like, whatever, you know. And my aunt told me last year, she's like, yo, you got the Justin Bieber's taking your culture. No offense to Justin Bieber. You got to do it.
Look in this camera.
You know? And
listen.
What that shows is the influence
the impact.
Black America, Black Jamaica, Black people have had on the world.
The impact.
And that, you know, it was like, all right, cool. What I don't have to sing about this, but I get to stand in a gap for first, second, third generation Americans, children of immigrants from the Caribbean can speak and talk and just have fun making his music. And so I'm excited about it because as scared as I was, I have had so many people show so much support to Word that I'm like,
that's your culture. That's your heritage. You have to.
So much. I had so much fun. Yeah, I was drunk the whole time.
Yes, because
you home. It's welcome home.
The whole time, you know. So I'm happy to be home. It's been 48 hours now. I'm gonna be here for like 2.5 weeks.
Nice.
This is the longest I've been home since I moved.
Wow.
I have a lot of work to do, but I'm trying to get things like this done before I get back into work mode because I know I'm about to get in the studio and get the shows together. I'm just grateful. So, you know, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful.
Thanks for the insight.
Yeah.
Right?
The energy.
The energy.
Dead ass.
Yeah. It's Brooklyn. Coco, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
Blue
you
Dope.
for having
It's Blue Dope, y'all.
Yeah.
Peace.